And we're live. What's up, everybody? I'm Alex, ThatMan, Coach ThatMan. All right. I'm a recovering drug addict. I have 6 years, 4 months, and 13 days free from the slavery of drugs and alcohol. 4 months ago, I realized, even though I was in recovery for so long and I haven't touched a substance um, in 6 years, I was celebrating my 6 year anniversary and I realized that I was still miserable. Yeah, I was overweight. I allowed my obsession to take over me, and it was ruining my health. And I decided to change that. So 4 months ago, I practiced these 12 principles the same way I did with my drug addiction, but for my health. Um, and it's really changed my life. And I became a health coach now, and I have clients, and I'm helping people change their health and better their overall the quality of their life. So if you know anyone that is looking to lose a little bit of weight, I lost over 100 pounds so far in 4 months. Pretty cool. Today actually marks 4 months for me of starting my weight loss adventure, is what I call it, right? But it's more about it's not just about weight loss. It's about a lot more than that. So anyway, today we are going over step 6. Oh, sale. All right. Yeah, if y'all don't know, I sell stuff online too, so that happens. Um, we're going over step 6. If you're new, please take a moment, subscribe. I'm creating this playlist for the 12 steps where every day for the last 12 days of the month of June in 2021, I am reading one of the steps every day. And there's going to be a playlist right now today, step 6. So if you want to go back, you can check out step 1. It is on my channel, and that's what we talked about, where we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Then we covered step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Yesterday was step 5, where we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And today, this is the step that separates the boys from the men. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. So stay tuned, buckle up. The way I do this is I just read and I get passionate about it because, again, this has changed my life. These principles have changed my life. You do not have to be uh, in active addiction or in recovery from addiction to practice these principles. These principles can be applied by anyone, for anyone, at any time, and the purpose of them is so that you can live a happy and purposeful life. So if you pay attention, if you listen with an open mind, no matter your situation, no matter your experiences in life, one way or the other, you can relate to this. So I invite you to open your ears, open your mind, and get ready. Um, Let me see who's all up in here. We got James. What's up, James? Good morning. Good morning. If you're watching on Facebook, you can join us on YouTube as well. There's a live chat going on, and people join in on this discussion, and everybody shares their experiences and stuff like that. We have Anna over here on YouTube. What's up, Anna? Good to see you. So, no further ado. Today's step, once again, is we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. We'll be covering in step 6, necessary to spiritual growth, the beginning of a lifetime job, recognition of difference between striving or objective and perfection. We'll be covering why we must keep trying. Being ready is all important. Necessity to taking action, and delay is dangerous. Rebellion may be fatal. Point at which we abandon limited objectives and move toward God's will for us. So that's what we'll be talking about. And I'm going to read through this one as quickly as possible for y'all. And at the same time, I'll do my best to not stop, but I do get passionate because I relate to this very much. So here we go. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. This is a step that separates the men from the boys. So declares a well loved clergyman who happens to be one of AA's greatest friends. He goes on to explain that any person capable of enough willingness and honesty to try repeatedly step 6 on all his faults without any reservation whatsoever has indeed come a long way spiritually and is therefore entitled to be called a man who is sincerely trying to grow in the image and likeness of his own creator. Of course, the often disputed question of whether God can and will, under certain conditions, remove defects of character will be answered with a prompt affirmative by almost any one of the members. To him, this proposition will be no theory at all. It will be just about the largest fact in his life. He will usually offer his proof in a statement like this: Sure, I was beaten, absolutely licked. My own willpower just wouldn't work on my problems. Change of scene, the best efforts of family, friends, doctors, and clergymen got no place with my addiction. I simply couldn't stop drinking, and no human being could seem to do the job for me. But when I became willing to clean house and then asked a higher power, God, as I understood him, to give me a release, my obsession to drink vanished. It was lifted right out of me. In these meetings all over the world, statements just like this are heard daily. It is plain for everybody to see that each sober member has been granted a release from this very obstinate and potentially fatal obsession. See, but they're saying right there, right? And if y'all haven't caught the other steps, go back, listen to them. But obsession is an intense, irrational desire. And obsession is part of what makes us addicted to things or makes us obsessed. Like think of being obsessed, right? Obsessed with somebody. Like it doesn't even have to be a substance, right? It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing, it could be an action. But my obsession went into eating, and I was acting the same way I was acting when I was high on drugs that I was when I was eating. I would hide. I wouldn't tell nobody. I acted as though everything was okay. I pretended like nobody knew, and I deceived myself a lot. So the obsession at the end of the day is something that you have to try to keep an eye on, because once you turn your back to it, that's when it's waiting for you to slip up, and it's going to mess you up, whether it's with drugs or food or exercise or work or relationships, like sick relationships. So that to me, that's where I relate to that. Become entirely ready to have God remove all the mania for alcohol or any other issue from their lives, and God has proceeded to do exactly that. Having been granted a perfect release from alcoholism, why then shouldn't we be able to achieve by the same means a perfect release for every other difficulty or defect? This is a riddle of our existence, the full answer to which may the full answer to which may be only in the mind of God. Nevertheless, at least a part of the answer to it is apparent to us. I see some comments. Hold on. What's up, Mookie? What's up, Anna? Hi again. I don't know if you heard me say hi before. All right. When men and women pour so much alcohol into themselves that they destroy their lives, when men and women pour enough, do too work too much, when men and women uh, put their time and priorities all misaligned with things that don't improve the quality of their life, you get what I'm saying? Like they commit a most unnatural act, defying their instinctive desire for self-preservation. They seem bent upon self-destruction. They work against their own deepest instinct, as they are humbled by the instinct of survival instinct, which is a combination of all of our natural instincts, which we talked about in a previous step. So go back and watch it. All right. As they are humbled by the terrific beating administered by their issues, the grace of God can enter them and expel their obsession. Here, their powerful instinct to live can cooperate fully with their Creator's desire to give them new life. For nature and God alike abhor suicide. But most of our other difficulties don't fall under such a category at all. Every normal person wants, for example, to eat, to reproduce, to be somebody in the society of his fellows. Those are the instincts. All right, we have instincts, instincts to survive. All right. Hey, Cricket, how you doing? We have instincts to survive. All right, so I'm going to read that again. These are the instincts they're talking about. Every normal person, for example, wants to eat, to reproduce, to be somebody in the society of his fellows. Those are all instincts. That's natural. That's perfectly fine. Okay. And he wishes to be reasonably safe and secure as he tries to attain things. Okay. Find that material security. All right. Like having things is not wrong. Wanting money, wanting to buy yourself things or buy things, it's not wrong. It's part of survival. All right. But those things, when deformed, as we spoke about in step 4, 2 days ago, those things when deformed, they make us run wild and they take over our lives, and it separates us more from our higher power. It separates us more from being able to actually live a happy and purposeful life, right? If I give you everything you want in life, everything, every little material thing in life, right? And you want it because you think it'll make you happy. So when you have it, you feel happy. You feel what you think is happy, but what it really is just joy, which is, there's a difference, in my opinion. If I take those things away from you and you're no longer happy, then you weren't happy to begin with, right? So when you understand your instincts and you understand where they at, and you understand if they're deformed and how, and you work on those things by practicing these steps up to this point so far, because there's still 6 more steps to go, 6 more principles. Once you practice it, you start living a happier and more purposeful life. Like your life feels more fulfilled. So indeed, God made him that way. He did not design man to destroy himself by alcohol or drugs or food or anything, but he did give man instincts to help him to stay alive. It is nowhere evident, at least in this life, that our Creator expects us fully to eliminate our instinctual drives. So far as we know, it is nowhere on the record that God has completely removed from any human being all his natural drives. Since most of us are born with an abundance of natural desires, it isn't strange that we often let these far exceed their intended purpose. When they drive us blindly, or we willfully demand that they supply us with more satisfactions or pleasures than are possible or due us, that is the point at which we depart from the degree of perfection that God wishes for us here on earth. That is the measure of our character defects, or, if you wish, our sins. If we ask, God will certainly forgive our derelictions. But in no case does he render us white as snow and keep us that way without our cooperation. That is something we are supposed to be willing to work towards ourselves. He asks only that we try as best we know how to make progress in the building of character. Progress. It's all that's wanted. El gato! What's up, El gato? Good to see you, man. 12 steps, baby. 12 steps. So, step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, is these principles' way of stating the best possible attitude one can take in order to make a beginning of this lifetime job. This does not mean that we expect all our character defects to be lifted out of us as the drive to drink was. A few of them may be, but with most of them, we shall have to be content with patient improvement. So it's not like you're going to read this and it's all going to be, everything's going to be, vanish. All your problems are going to go away. Some of them might just go away right away. But some of them, you're just going to have to be content with patient improvement. Okay. The key words entirely ready underline the fact that we want to aim at the very best we know or can learn. How many of us have this degree of readiness? In an absolute sense, practically nobody has it. The best we can do, with all the honesty that we can summon, is to try to have it. Even then, the best of us will discover to our dismay that there is always a sticking point, at a point at which we say, no, I can't give this up yet. And we shall often tread on even more dangerous grounds when we cry, this I will never give up. Such is the power of our instincts to overreach themselves. No matter how far we have progressed, desires will always be found which oppose the grace of God. Some who feel they have done well may dispute this. So let's try to think it through a little further. Practically everybody wishes to be rid of his most glaring and destructive handicaps. No one wants to be so proud that he is scorned as a braggart, nor so greedy that he is labeled a thief. No one wants to be angry enough to murder, lustful enough to rape, gluttonous enough to ruin his health. That was me. This was the step that I was not practicing. And this was the step that led me to, at the end of the day, almost dying from heart attacks and stuff, right? Like having diabetes. This step right here was the one that I said, this I will never give up. That was my mentality. So I didn't practice the steps when it came to my health. I practiced it when it came to drugs and alcohol, but I didn't practice it when it came to my health. And I had to practice it from step one. I had to admit to myself that I was powerless and that my life had become unmanageable when it came to eating, when it came to, the way I was treating my life. All my unhealthy habits, my sleeping habits, my work habits, my family habits, it was all unmanageable. And the most potent drug that I was taking at the time was food. Bad food, right? That's deep. No one wants to be agonized by the chronic pain of envy or to be paralyzed by sloth, laziness. Of course, most human beings don't suffer these defects at these rock bottom levels. See, this is the thing with these defects. When you don't pay attention to one of them and you allow one of them to deform your instinct one way or the other, like my instinct of survival was deformed because I was eating to kill myself. But I was committing suicide by the way I was eating. Just like I was committing suicide by the way I did my drugs. Just like the way I was committing suicide when I would, sit around and not do anything and not reach for my goals, just let life pass by thinking that things are just going to fall on my lap. I was not living. I was killing myself. So when one of these defects take over, which usually is pride, because that's the one that stops you from humbling yourself enough to reach out for help, to be honest, to speak up, to say what's going on. But once that happens, then all the other ones start, you're allowing this one, it's almost feeding the other ones, and the other ones get worse, and you start suffering more from envy, you start suffering more from greed, you start suffering more from all these other things because you're separating yourself from the very principles that gave you the sanity to begin with. You start losing your sanity. And that's my interpretation. I'm not a guru. I'm not nobody. I'm just a drug addict in recovery with 6 years under my belt. Thank to God, like straight up. Somebody who's grateful today. That's all I am. And somebody who's been fortunate enough to have gone through this program right here, the 12 steps, and has applied it to my life in such a way that I didn't die yet because I stopped applying it. I tried applying it, but I would stop. And we get to that in step 12. Step 12 at the very end will discuss that. So, yeah. We who have escaped these extremes are apt to congratulate ourselves. Yet can we? After all, hasn't it been self-interest, pure and simple, that has enabled most of us to escape? Not much spiritual effort is involved in avoiding excesses which will bring us punishment anyway. But when we face up to the less violent aspects of these very same defects, then where do we stand? The less violent aspects of these same defects. Okay? Rock bottom is being so gluttonous that you weigh 460 pounds and you feel like you're having a heart attack every day. That's rock bottom. That feeling of hopelessness is rock bottom. But it didn't have to be that bad. A lot of people are unhealthy. A lot of people are living unhealthy lifestyles. But they're not at a rock bottom yet because they don't feel hopeless yet. A lot of us have to wait till we have that heart attack and that triple bypass. A lot of us have to wait until we're homeless and we lost everything. A lot of us have to wait until, we're dead broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to wait to those extremes. But the purpose of this, the purpose of what this is what's happening right now, is to help people prevent having to get to that rock bottom, to open the minds and eyes and hearts of people that are suffering and don't even realize it because they think that's life. They think that life is simply to suffer and then die, to try to attain things, to try to impress people. And they suffer in silence, unconsciously. They don't even realize it. And it's sad because that is the majority of the world, in my opinion. What we must recognize now is that we exult in some of our defects. We really love them. We love to eat good, right? I mean, how many of us remember back in the day, Food Channel, and like we watch videos on people cooking and we're enjoying the look of that deep fried chicken or something? You know what I'm saying? That's not healthy, but we enjoy eating that way because we like, it's not healthy for you. And you might think you're healthy because it hasn't made you overweight. You might think you're healthy because your blood pressure's fine. But one day it's going to catch up to you. This is what it's talking about. Like, we know it's bad for us, but we still do it. Like, if you could truly be honest with yourself, you know it's bad for you and you still do it. Mookie says, yes, find the strength to avoid letting it get to that rock bottom place. Exactly. And again, these are my opinions. This is just me being passionate, speaking from here because I've experienced all these things. Your story might be different, and it most likely is. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's struggle is different, but we all struggle. Who, for example, doesn't like to feel just a little superior to the next fellow, or even quite a lot superior? Isn't it true that we like to let greed masquerade as ambition? If you look up the definition of ambition, okay, and all the words, just look up all the words that are similar to ambition. Look all of those words up. All those words are perfectly fine and healthy, except one. There's one word that makes ambition seem bad, and it's the word scheme. So if you go look that up, you'll see all the words that are similar to ambition, that define ambition, that have the same definition to a degree, right? But there's one word in there that's bad, and it's scheming. Ambition isn't what we think it is. Or better said, take that back. Ambition could be a bad thing, especially if you don't recognize it. isn't it true that we like to let greed masquerade as ambition? Perfect example. If somebody Ambition is where you would do something to bring somebody down so that you can be better than them. That's an act of ambition. So somebody you're envious of them or something, and they're in a higher up rank than you at work, and you'll go and scheme so that you can get them in trouble so that they can lose their position so that you can hopefully take their position. That's called ambition. And again, that's that one word that defines ambition that makes it bad. And if you don't know that, to think of liking lust seems impossible. But how many men and women speak love with their lips and believe what they say? I know I do. So that they can hide lust in a dark corner of their minds. And even while staying within conventional bounds, many people have to admit that their imaginary sex excursions are apt to be all dressed up as dreams of romance. Self-righteous anger also can be very enjoyable, right? Like nobody will say, oh, yeah, I love being angry. No, you do love being angry. It fills you up. It fills you up to tell people how you feel. It fills you up to get mad, and you enjoy it. You do it with passion. How many people have expressed themselves with the purpose of seeking vengeance, revenge, to try to hurt somebody, and they speak from anger? It's not good. The only person they're hurting is themselves. But in their mind, they think they're hurting the other person, and what they're really doing is relieving themselves of that anger in an unhealthy way and filling themselves up with more anger, because when they're done, nothing was resolved, and now they're even more angry because it didn't accomplish nothing. I mean, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Because I could be wrong. I'm humble enough to listen to the opinion of others, and you tell me I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is what I see, and this is my opinion. Self-righteous anger also can be very enjoyable. In a perverse way, we can actually take satisfaction from the fact that many people annoy us, for it brings a comfortable feeling of superiority. Gossip barbed with our anger, a polite form of murder by character assassination. All it is anger. Anger is not good for you. We'll read that again. Gossip barbed with our anger, a polite form of murder by character assassination. A polite form of murder by character assassination has its satisfactions for us too. Here, we are not trying to help those we criticize. We're not. We're trying to proclaim our own righteousness. I don't know. I'm not a religious person. Don't get it twisted. I am not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I have my higher power. I believe in my God. And I believe in I've read a lot of things from the Bible. I've read a lot of things from all kind of spiritual practices. And I relate and I understand all of it, because at the end of the day, spirituality is spirituality. Religion is religion. And I mean, I remember hearing that God looks for the weak. He looks for the distressed. Like, and don't mark my words. I don't know the exact words. Again, I'm not religious. I don't know the Bible word for word. I don't. But I remember reading something in that aspect where God, he doesn't want the righteous, that the righteous wickedness, or you know what I'm saying? Like he wants the people that are really lost. Like the disciples were all messed up people. The disciples were messed up. They were drug addicts. They were prostitutes. They were messed up thieves. Those were the 12 disciples. Those were the people that were next to God. They were liars. They were traitors, like Judas, right? So that part where it says here, we are not trying to help those we criticize. We're really not. When we get angry and we talk and gossip about people, we're trying to murder them politely, right? We're trying to proclaim our own righteousness. When gluttony, this is for me, y'all. This is for me. Listen, when gluttony, all right, which gluttony means to consume more than what is necessary, to take more than what you need. That's not greed. Greed is when you want things for yourself. It's the opposite of generosity. Gluttony is when you take things in excess. So gluttony relates to drug addiction, to eating, to work, to every aspect of your life that you put too much emphasis and time into, that puts your priorities out of whack, that you're prioritizing over everything else, when you should be prioritizing over the things that are the really most important in life. Instead, you're overworking. Instead, you're over-exercising. Instead, you're overeating, right? So when gluttony is less than ruinous, when it's really not messing you up, we have a milder word for that too. We call it taking our comfort. Comfort food. I know some y'all ain't gonna like this. Y'all are not gonna like this. I'm gonna tell y'all the facts. Y'all ain't gonna like this. Comfort. We call it taking our comfort. Right? It's like our way of deceiving ourselves and saying, no, it's comfort food. It feels good. Feels good until you got a triple bypass coming. It feels good until your diabetes is so bad that you can't see anymore, or they have to chop off a foot. I'm gonna be real raw with y'all. I'm gonna let y'all know this is what happens to people. This is what could have happened to me. We live in a world riddled with envy. Envy, at the end of the day, and this isn't in the book. These are things that I've learned and I've studied and I believe are true. I believe are true. Envy isn't just that you're jealous. Envy is when you're not happy for someone else's success or material possessions. Like you're not happy for someone else. That's envy. Okay? So we live in a world riddled with envy to a greater or less degree. Everybody is infected with it. Everybody is infected. Yo, I love it when people tell me, I'm not prideful. I love it when people tell me, no, I'm not the jealous type. I love it when people tell me, like I'm not greedy. That when people say that, that just shows to me that they don't know that they are. That they don't have that consciousness yet. Moogie says, no. If I get mad, it's because I'm determined to get my point across with the hopes of eventually resolving the situation. Some people need to hear shit. Okay, Mookie. I'm not going to argue with you, but I believe you. I do. Susan says, murdering politely is running rampant in YouTube. Oh, Susan. Yes. This is why you don't see me much. This is why I'm doing my thing. I'm watering my flowers. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my thing. What's up, Sensei? Jen, how you doing? That's why, Susan, when you see me, it's usually briefly because I am expressing love. I'm showing love to people. But the people I allow in my life, in my circle every day that I speak with, that I converse with, that I share ideas with, they're healthy, good people. They're people who have this understanding to some degree because they're people who I look up to. They're people who I respect to the degree that I know that they actually want the best for me, and they, you know what I'm saying? And I want the best for them. And there's this mutual understanding there, and we help each other, instead of, hey, how's it going? And then as soon as you disappear, man, that guy, he does this and he does that. Gossip. Polite murder. I love that phrase. This is a really, really cool phrase. Greed is awesome. Yes. Brittany says, use your words and actions to build up, not tear down. Yes. Sorry. So let me keep going. I'm almost done with this, y'all. I'm almost done with this. Almost done with this. From envy. All right, we're talking about envy. From this defect, we must surely get a warped yet definite satisfaction. Else, why would we consume such great amounts of time wishing for what we have not, rather than working for it, or angrily looking for attributes we shall never have, instead of adjusting to the fact and accepting it? And how often we work hard with no better motive than to be secure and slothful later on, right? Like retirement, yo. You know, like this idea of retirement, like I want to retire. So you work your whole life for someone else. They pay you a salary and you save money for 50 years of your life. And then you turn 65, 70, whatever year it is that you're allowed to retire, and you want to lay back and not do nothing because you've worked your ass off your whole life instead of living life, instead of learning new things that might not have to put you in that situation where if you really want to retire, because retirement, yo, people want that. They have this dream and this hope that they can just never work again for the rest of their lives. But by doing that, they begin to die. They begin to die. Because without having purpose in life, without having something that fulfills you, something that makes you happy, something to do by planting your own seeds, by building something, without having that, guess what? Your retirement ain't going to be that long. You're going to die soon. You want to retire, make sure you have something that you enjoy doing, even if it's a hobby, right? Spend your time doing something that gives you that sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. So this is talking about the idea of retirement. Okay, the idea of retirement where the sloth comes involved. Like your idea is, man, I'm almost, I got 10 more years till I retire. I can't wait. I don't have to show up to this job anymore. I don't have to clock in anymore. I don't have to announce myself to a boss. I don't have to wake up early anymore. Those are all ideas of sloth, of laziness. Instead of doing that, of wishing and hoping and expecting to retire so you don't have to do those things anymore, why not try to find a way so that you don't have to be miserable living the life you're living in this moment? Instead of wishing and hoping and working towards something that you may never even have because tomorrow isn't promised, why not work right now on changing that sense of misery? I mean, if you're not happy going to work, do something about it. If you're not happy waking up at 7 in the morning, do something about it, because you can wake up at 7 in the morning and be happy. But why? Why aren't you happy? That's what these principles are about, yo. Forget addiction. In the beginning, we talk about addiction because remember, this was written for people who were suffering from addiction. This was written for people who needed hope, okay? So they need to introduce them gently. But ultimately, this is written for everyone. It's true. Some just lie and later become victims. It's oh my God. I want to share my experiences about that, but I've already let that go, forgiven, and move forward. But yes. And I've actually been that person in my life too. I've been that person. That's why I can see it. Because I've created that consciousness of it. Like I noticed it and I'm like, you know what? Dang. So when it happens, I always sit back, I ask, I question, I look, I investigate, I tell myself, is it me? Is it them? I find that time to actually meditate and reflect on the situations that I've gone through in my life so that I can understand them. So that moving forward, when they occur again, because they will, I can come at it from a different perspective, a different angle, Sun and Moon Cricket says, I'm so glad I saw you on. I just was praying and asking for guidance, and then bam, I needed this today. Thank you. Cricket, I hope to talk to you soon. I hope we get to talk. I'm not checking my messages now because I'm doing this, but I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Jen says, I was a sloth for so many years, and I felt bad about myself living that way. You do when you dwell in these defects, the greed, the sloth, the lust, the envy, the anger, the pride. You know what I'm saying? When you allow yourself to dwell in these things, you live miserably. Once like a sloth, when you apply action or diligence to sloth, diligence is the opposite of sloth. When you apply that, when you take action on your life, when you do things, you feel good. When you don't, you feel bad. Right? Am I right or wrong? Right or wrong? Moki's telling Anna to stay away from those people. We don't need that. And Anna says it's a past incident. It is. People portray a fabricated perfect life. I cringe when I see the hashtag blessed. Chances are they are hiding something in their life that they don't want people to see. It's true. It's true. I agree with that. I agree. I can't say it's true. What I'm going to say is I agree with that. I agree with that. No one's perfect. There's no perfection. Like it said earlier in this step, it's not about being perfect. It's about it's about like trying to be perfect, but it's not even that. Anyway, y'all get it. Y'all get it. See, Sun and Moon Cricket says, I didn't even know I was a sloth till today. We all are. We all possess these things. And the ones that don't know we don't have that consciousness of it, so it continues to create misery of our lives. Right? So once you recognize it, like you just recognized it, right? From what I understand, you're saying, I didn't even know I was a sloth till today. And with sloth, it's not even that you're not moving. It can literally be a mental sloth. Procrastination is a 5-syllable word for sloth. When you have something to do and you're exhausted because you've worked all day or whatever, and your mind tells you, no, I'll just do it tomorrow. That's procrastination, putting things off for another day, right? It's procrastination. You can very well get it accomplished today. But when you leave it out for tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow, that's a mental sloth. So it's not just physical or action, it's also mental, it's also spiritual. All right. So there's physical, there's mental, and there's spiritual. Mental is the same as emotional. So it's an emotional sloth. Why is it that your emotions are preventing you from doing things that you should be doing or you could do, right? I'm glad you mentioned that, Cricket. I used to do it all the time, says Jen. That's me procrastinating for sure. Yeah, procrastination. Look, and it's not to bring up that we're gonna be speaking soon or anything, Cricket. It's just I speak to a lot of people on a daily basis. I'm constantly reaching out to people because I want them to experience what I've experienced in this past 4 months. I want them to turn their lives around. I want them to feel more energized, more focused. I want them to be healthy. I want them to feel good about themselves, be more confident. I want them to start new relationships with people. I want them to fall in love. I want them to do things that at this moment they don't see possible because they're unhealthy, and being physically unhealthy messes with the mind too. It makes you mentally unhealthy, and I want people to experience that. But I speak to them every single day, and they always give me an excuse that to me is procrastination or laziness. Them telling me, oh, I'm doing something now, we'll talk next week, or I have a bunch of things going on, so maybe in 2 weeks we'll speak. Right? They reach out to me looking for help, but once they allow that mental deviation to just happen, they second guess it, and they fear gets involved, and they're like, next week we'll talk, or I can't do it now because I don't have the money yet. Oh, but you're going, and I don't know if he's watching, man. Much love and respect to you, but this is true. His wife is sitting next to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't have that money right now, right?" And then his wife is like, "Babe, you're gonna spend that much in the next week on McDonald's," and not in those exact words, but that was basically what she said. She was like, "You're gonna spend that much in this week on fast food. And he was like, well, yeah, you're right. So then all of a sudden it was a different objection. No, it's just, just give me some time. Procrastination. You get me? So when people talk to me, I hear them and I listen and I understand them. And I allow people to make their own choices. I do not like to push people, pressure people, because the last thing I want for somebody to start something that they're just going to fail from the start. You need to be ready. You need to be willing to change your life. The question I ask people is, what are you willing to do to change your life? I ask people that because that's what they asked me when I looked for help for my addiction. They asked me, I was at the worst point of my life. I was at my rock bottom. And they told me, okay, I was hooked on heroin. I was homeless. I didn't have a single soul in my life that was going to support me anymore. Not financially, not emotionally, not in any way. And they asked me, what are you willing to do to change your life? My answer to them was anything. When I ask somebody that, and their answer isn't at least similar to what I answered, and they don't tell me anything, I lose hope for them because I know that they're not ready. And if they're not ready, it's just gonna it's gonna waste their time. It's gonna waste my time. And this might sound cruel, y'all, but y'all don't understand it because I've experienced it. I've been in a house with dozens and hundreds of recovering addicts that all came in the door asking for help and one day gave up because in the beginning they weren't actually ready. So why waste that time? I would rather, this is going to sound cruel, but I would rather push somebody to go keep eating fast food. Keep eating that. Keep living that life. I want you to keep living that life because at one point or another, you're going to hit rock bottom. You can keep following me. You can keep watching me, and I will continue to show love. I will continue to support you. I will continue to lift you up, inspire, tell my story, be as vulnerable and as honest as possible, speak from my heart. I will continue to do those things. I will continue to keep watering the seeds that I plant. But I'm not going to waste your time because my time is much better spent watering my flowers. And I want you to change your life. So why not push you to do it? So that's where I come from. That's what I do. I'm sorry I wasn't listening. I tried listening. What's up, Susanna? Oh, Susanna. Susan says I'm a tax sloth. Yeah, taxes. That right there, mental sloth for real. Like when I did my taxes, I was like, oh my God, I gotta do all this. This year I got all my numbers together, so I'm good. I'm shy, I'm scared, I'm overweight, I'm a mess, I'm real, but you're also possible. You're also amazing. You're also strong. Like all these things that you said, you're scared. You're also courageous. Cricket. Like Cricket, you are also courageous. You're not just scared. You are also humble. You're not just shy. Now, the physical part, the overweight, that can change. You're a mess. So is everyone else. So am I. I'm a mess. I work on putting my life together every day. But if I don't work on it, I'm a mess. So you are the good things too, Cricket. You just have to dig inside you and discover those things because that's the issue. The issue is we've allowed these bad things to transpire and form us and they overwhelm us and we don't understand that there's good in us as well because it overpowers the badness, overpowers the good. Negativity for some reason is super strong in this world. For some reason, we would rather focus on the negative than the positive. For some weird reason, it's like we enjoy to be miserable. We enjoy that. And I think it's because of that word comfort that we mentioned earlier. It's comfortable. It's something we are accustomed to. It's a habit already. Change is one of the most uncomfortable things to do. To actually work on changing, that's uncomfortable. And it's because of that comfort that we're stuck. It's because of that comfort that we're not even able to see how good we are. And there's obvious outside influences. The news. I don't watch the news, man. I did last year when all this craziness started happening, right? But it was just so much negativity. I cut myself off from all the people who were negative in my life. People who I gave chances. But I was ruining myself by associating myself with them. I cut that off. Habits that I had of overeating, of hiding, of doing all these bad things, I've had to change those things, and it was uncomfortable. This whole 4 months have been uncomfortable. As happy as I felt, I found happiness in being uncomfortable. At first, it sucks. At first, it sucks. But then that becomes a habit. Uncomfort, being uncomfortable becomes a healthy habit. Becomes something that makes you smile, that makes you feel good, that takes you out of misery, that takes you out of hopelessness and gives you hope. Like, y'all know I have no idea where I left off reading, right? Susanna wants to know why does she do it. Susanna, just keep watching these 12 steps as I read them. Go back. They're in the playlist. You start from step 1 and just be open-minded as you listen and put yourself in place of that, right? Put yourself, whatever your situation is, put yourself in place of that. And you'll discover it. You'll discover it takes work. It takes uncomfort. Scooter, what's up, Scooter? Good to see you. Sorry, I don't watch the chat when I start, like, getting passionate and speaking my truth. All right. Anna says Cricket is a beautiful person, and others see that. For example, Laurie and Jewelry Nurse. That's what they have had Cricket in their channels. Cricket is a lovely person. Exactly. We all are, dude. Like, I was the worst of the worst. And the problem is that I believed that more than the person who I am today. Today, I believe more that I'm actually a very good person. I believe that more than I'm a bad person. But we all have good and bad. It's which one are you feeding? Which one are you developing more? Which one are you putting more time on? We're all beautiful. All of us. So, listen, I forgot where I was. Else, why would we consume most of the time? Consider. Okay, here we go. All right. And how often we work hard with no better motive than to be secure and slothful later on. Only we call that retiring. Yo, I didn't even read that part yet. I mean, I've read this a million times. And that's why I get this, all this works together, and I say the things I say because I've been fortunate to apply these things, and I've been fortunate to practice these things, all right? Consider 2 our talents for procrastination, which is really sloth in 5 syllables. I literally just said that, and I hadn't read it yet. What's up, Uncle Mike? My Uncle Mike says, morning to all here. I've been lurking today, but love to listen to Alex and the way he's trying to help others because he says it like it is and wants to help. Amen. Woo! Let's go. Nearly anyone could submit a good list of such defects as these, and few of us would seriously think of giving them up, at least until they cause us excessive misery. Yo, I was saying that. I'm sorry, man. I love this. Some people, of course, may conclude that they are in indeed ready to have all such defects taken from them. But even these people, if they construct a list of still milder defects, will be obliged to admit that they prefer to hang on to some of them. Therefore, it seems plain that few of us can quickly or easily become ready to aim at spiritual and moral perfection. We want to settle for only as much perfection as will get us by in life, according, of course, to our various and sundry ideas of what will get us by. So the difference between the boys and the men is the difference between striving for a self-determined objective and for the perfect objective, which is of God. So it's about striving for the perfect objection, which is of God. Objective. I said that, right? Okay. Many will at once ask, how can we accept the entire implication of step 6? Why? That is perfection, they say, right? This sounds like a hard question, but practically speaking, it isn't. Only step 1, where we made the 100% admission we were powerless over our problems, can be practiced with absolute perfection. That's the only one that can be practiced with perfection. Step 1. So go back and check it out. The remaining 11 steps state perfect ideals. They are goals, they're perfect ideals. Okay? They are goals towards which we look and the measuring sticks by which we estimate our progress. Seen in this light, step 6 is still difficult, but not at all impossible. The only urgent thing is that we make a beginning and keep trying. If we would gain any real advantage in the use of this step on problems other than alcohol, we shall need to make a brand new venture into open-mindedness. We shall need to raise our eyes toward perfection and be ready to walk in that direction. It will seldom matter how haltingly we walk. The only question will be, are we ready? When I told y'all, I asked people, what are you willing to do to change your life? The question I'm asking them is, are you really ready? Because it's not hard. My program, the program I'm coaching is very simple, but we're complex. We're very complicated people. We make it complicated. So if you can't answer that question, then looking again at those defects, we are still unwilling to give up. We ought to erase the hard and fast lines that we have drawn. Perhaps we shall be obliged in some cases still to say, this I cannot give up yet. But we should not say to ourselves, this I will never give up. Let's dispose of what appears to be a hazardous open end we have left. It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. We note that some delay, however, might be pardoned. That word, in the mind of a rationalizing alcoholic, could certainly be given a long-term meaning. He could say, how very easy. Sure, I'll head toward perfection, but I'm certainly not going to hurry any. Maybe I can postpone dealing with some of my problems indefinitely. Of course, this won't do. Such a bluffing of oneself, that's self-deception, such a bluffing of oneself will have to go the way of many another pleasant rationalization. At the very least, we shall have to come to grips with some of our worst character defects and take action toward their removal as quickly as we can. The moment we say, no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Delay is dangerous and rebellion may be fatal. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move toward God's will for us. And that, my friends, is step 6 from the 12 steps and 12 traditions. I hope you got something out of it. I love y'all. If you didn't watch step 1 through 5, you can go back, watch it. The beauty is it's on a playlist. It will forever be on my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and please subscribe. Show me some love. Because this is just me. It's what I do. It's what I'm doing with my life. And I'd love to, have y'all part of it. So you can go watch step 1 through 5. Tomorrow will be step 7. I'll tell you what step 7 is. This is where we talk about humility. So for those of y'all who, love humility, here's a little bit of humility for you. Step 7, humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. So that'll be tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow, I believe at noon. Don't mark my words. We'll be doing the show. Me and it's me, Jen, Sarah, and Adrian, and we're all four health coaches, and we'll be talking about health and wellness. We do it live. We ask questions. It's actually a really good show. It's entertaining, informational. It's all the good stuff. So, and the three ladies I'm working with, they're very beautiful ladies, and they're awesome people. They have great personalities. They're my best friends. They're some of my best friends. Like I've been blessed with a lot of best friends now, and they're some of them. And I'll show you guys the intro to that if you haven't seen it. It's something I made. Check it out.
Rising sun hits the sky.
So now what? Before and after. So now what? That's what the show's called. Hope to see y'all there tomorrow, Sunday night, Bad Boys Live, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, where we tell your truth, where we tell your truth through ours, sharing what we've overcome to help lead you towards financial, emotional, and spiritual freedom. It'll be me and Oscar, and we'll be talking and all that good stuff. So go check that out. And till tomorrow, guys, have a beautiful day. Stay blessed. And don't forget, you can be bad and still be good. So be good or be good at it. Peace, money, love.